Hello all, good to be back here with another video. Today we are going to talk about a dilemma strategists have faced since Season 1, and that is a lack of peeling from DPS and tank players when they're getting dived. Now, I imagine the title has already made some strategist mains angry, and you've probably clicked on this video preemptively wanting to hate on me, which is fine. But just hear me out, let me say my piece, and if you still hate on me for my opinion, then Godspeed. So, for most of you here, I imagine you know what issue I'm talking about, but for a few of you that may not, let me briefly summarize. When a hero has high mobility and can specialize in getting in and out of a situation quickly, they're known as dive characters. The most common dive characters are DPS, such as Spider-Man, Iron Fist, Magic, Black Panther. Tanks can have dive heroes as well. We have Venom, we have Captain America. Unfortunately, we don't see many dive heroes on the support side, which is a symptom of this problem, I think, but that's for another video. These heroes are adept at opportunizing on the chaos of a team fight to slip into the enemy team's backline, kill their supports, and then slip back out. As the game has progressed, the players who heavily play these dive heroes have learned the most efficient and sweaty ways to kill these backliners, from animation canceling combos to quick spawn rollouts. And listen, I'm guilty of this as well. I'm a cap lord, I use animation canceling all the time, because there's no reason not to. It's extra damage. We have been in a place, though, where these divers are so prevalent that support players have begun blaming their DPS and tanks for not coming back to help them in these moments, also known as peeling. This is essentially the root of the conflict between the players. Now, I want to caveat that peeling for your supports is important and situationally necessary. If there are multiple divers constantly harassing the backline every fight, it is your job as a DPS or a second tank to be a bodyguard and keep them alive. If your backline is dead, you are dead. End of story. So, what I'm about to say doesn't apply to those kinds of situations where there are 2 or 3 divers in a backline coordinating their efforts to take down the healers. This is geared more toward those games where there is one Spider-Man or Iron Fist running around diving the backline. Those games where the divers aren't the actual Avengers, but rather regular players trying to make regular plays. I want to make one thing very clear, and it's going to make a lot of strategist mains very upset. Other than your other support, no one is in a better place on that team to save you than you. As a support player, you are given abilities to help yourself should you get into trouble. That could be Mantis' Sleep, Luna's Freeze, Cloak and Dagger's Fade and Bubble, Loki's Totem, Jeff's entire bullshit, Adam's damage. Okay, Adam doesn't get anything, but for the most part, you are given tools to help yourself. Now, those are not always enough. The stun wears off, your intangibility has a short duration. Whatever the case may be, you are not immediately safe after using a utility. It's only temporary. So what is the answer? Well, again, assuming you aren't being dived on by 2 or 3 cracked out Lord players, positioning is your best friend. Preventing the dive before it happens is your best friend. I cannot tell you how many times I see support players complaining about getting dived, but they walk out of spawn the same way every damn time. And then when the team fight starts, they are out in the open every damn time. There is no role that requires good positioning more than strategist, and the best strategists or support players position themselves beautifully so that they make diving them difficult. As a support player, you need to have exit strategies, and you need to be aware of where you are standing, especially if there are divers. If there's a Black Panther or Spider-Man on the enemy team, you have to recognize that you are their primary target, and then you have to play accordingly. Don't be afraid to fight them. A Spider-Man thinks your Cloak and Dagger is a victim? Put that bubble down, switch to Cloak, beam his ass down. You may die, but you went down swinging. More often than not, you'll find that you win those fights the more that you take them. Does this mean you shouldn't be peeled for? That you should be left to fend for yourself every single time you're dived? Hell no. In certain situations, you should be peeled for, not just to save you, but also so divers can be caught by the team and picked. There is a balance that must be struck between peeling for your support and pushing and pressuring the fight. And I'm going to get deeper into what I mean by that with some visuals in a minute. The best supports are supports who can protect themselves. That doesn't mean you should be abandoned every time. It means you don't need a babysitter. A support who can take out their divers and continue to heal is more valuable than one who needs protection and heals. In fact, peeling for your supports every single fight they get dived creates a disadvantageous situation for your team and will most likely lead to a loss even if you save your support. And I'm going to use Microsoft Paint to help you visualize what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to break this down in Microsoft Paint. Bear with me, all right? I haven't used Paint since I was like a kid, so bear with me. But here's how we're gonna do this. So we have a whole team, right? Let's say we have a support, right? A DPS, and we have a tank, and a tank, right? This is your team. This is your team right here. On the enemy team, we have the same thing, right? Tank, right? DPS, right along the sides. They go wherever, and then we got our backline. We got support. We got support. So this is how we're setting up the fight, right? So the fight is beginning. The tanks are engaging each other, right? We're starting here. The tank's job is to make space. That is their job. So all of this space here, right? Our tanks want this space. They want it, right? Similarly, their DPS or their tanks want all of this space, right? This is what their tanks want. That's the job of the tanks here, is to push the enemy tanks, make space. And this, the supports are supposed to help them do that by keeping them up, right? Which is doing their job, whatever. Once the space is made, right? So let's say the space is made, right? Our tanks have made it. Tank, right? They've made this space. This space is our team's now, right? This space is our team's. And then we can say the enemies went back here, right? Tank, right? They got pushed back. Our tanks can now operate in this space. And you know who else can? Our DPS. So now our DPS can flank these areas. There we go. So our DPS can attack now, right? They can attack the supports. They can attack the enemy DPS. They can attack the enemy tanks. Whatever. This space is made. The enemy DPS don't have a lot of space to work with. So we are now winning this fight. Let's say there is a diver now. Okay? So this DPS is not here, right? Let's say this is a Black Panther. All right? The Black Panther... Oops. Hold on. The Black Panther is now here, harassing your supports. Okay? Your supports ping this Black Panther. Say, oh my god, we're getting dived. What are we gonna do? So right now you have your tanks who have pushed up, right? You have your tanks who have pushed up. So let's get rid of this. Your tanks have pushed up over here. Your DPS have pushed up over here because they're applying pressure, right? We can win the fight and we can push forward. So DPS applying pressure. You've just pinged Black Panther in the backlines. One Black Panther. Let's say you have a support. Your support's not right next to you. Let's say your support's like right here, right? Doing healing. So they're not looking back at you. They're not doing their job. It should be your support's job to help you with this, right? But they're not doing that. It is between either you fighting this Black Panther or your DPS or tanks having to travel all the way back here to help you. In which case your HP is at like 30% now. Black Panther's going to kill you and then fuck off back to his team. Because the tanks moved back here, these guys, the enemy tanks, have now pushed forward and they have taken this space. All right? Assuming that you don't die. Let's say you don't die. All right? Your health is at 30%. Your health is at 30%. We come back, right? The tank comes back. It's a thing, uses his shift, kill the Black Panther, right? Or even better example, let's say it's a Spider-Man, right? Even more. Let's say it's a Spider-Man. Spider-Man has flanked. We kill the Spider-Man, right? It could be a Black Panther, Iron Fist, whatever. But let's say it's a Spider-Man for the sake of the argument, right? Now it's a 5v6 and we can push forward. But guess what? Our tanks have given up all of the space still. Our DPS have given up all of the space still. They are now back here. And this space is taken by the enemy tanks. Because they saw the opportunity. If they're smart, that's what they did. If they're not smart, they didn't push up, right? But if they're smart, the enemy tanks took this space. Right? It's not the right color, whatever, doesn't matter. So now they have this space. If you do this every single time, the tanks and the DPS can never push forward. Oh, and this Spider-Man that died, by the way, he's back. Because it's fucking Spider-Man. So he just, woo, swings back here and boom, the Spider-Man is back. Right? This is kind of a mess now. But the idea is, the Spider-Man's back. Now they have all of this space here. All of this space belongs to these guys. Right? Belongs to these guys. Your tanks are on the back foot. The enemy Spider-Man's back. It's back to a 6v6 and you've just lost ground. Guess what? Guess what just happened? The Spider-Man is now attacking your supports again. Right? Let's say the tanks... Now the fight has reset. Right? This support has, you know, maybe come back here. Whatever. Right? The tanks are now trying to take this space back. They're fighting again. They're fighting the enemy tanks. The Spider-Man comes back, goes after this support. If the tanks have to go back and peel again, or the DPS have to go back and peel again, right? Whether they take the Spider-Man out or not, guess what's lost? This space. My point that I'm trying to make is, yes, we should peel. Yes, we should help. But there are some support players out there who expect DPS and tanks to always peel. Every single time they get dived, always peel. And if that happens, this is the case. This is what happens if we always peel. We never make space. We are on the back foot. The only way to win in a situation like that is for one of your DPS, to fucking annihilate everybody and carry, or one of your tanks to annihilate everybody and carry. And you can't expect that every single time. If you have one tank, forget it. That tank cannot peel for you, right? If you have one tank, then that tank has one job as a solo tank. A single job. And that job is to hold this front line against their two tanks. That's their job. DPS may peel, but for the most part, DPS need to be applying pressure because the front line is being held by one person, one tank. So DPS need to apply pressure, or pressure to the back line to force these guys to peel, right? It doesn't matter what kind of pressure. That's the DPS's job if you have one tank. The ability for them to come back and help you, even if they make it there, if they come back and help you, you probably won't even live. And even if you do, this front is lost. The fight then goes over here. And you're not making the progress you want to make. I also want to address if it's just the DPS that go back to peel. Again, DPS should be peeling for supports if it's necessary. But if it's just like one Spider-Man here, right? And the DPS decide to peel every single fight. What happens is this front line right here, the pressure of the enemy team goes off and the pressure on our tanks goes on. So while these DPS decide that they want to try and target the Spider-Man or peel for our supports, in the meantime, our other support is probably also going to try, potentially. These tanks on the front line get pelted with damage from the enemy tanks, the other enemy DPS. The enemy supports don't need to heal as much, so they start doing damage on the tanks as well. And then before you can do anything about the Spider-Man, hell, you won't even kill him because he's Spider-Man. You can press shift and woo, he's out of there again. Guess what? your tanks are dead, and the enemy team is coming to kill all of you because your tank line doesn't exist. My cat is on my desk, so she's making noise. Adversely, let's say your tanks don't die. Somehow you still manage to heal them, right? Your tanks are on the back foot. Even if you're healing them, they're not going to continue forward. They're low, getting healed. They've used all of their cooldowns to try and stay alive while everybody was dealing with this Spider-Man. So guess what they do? Guess what they do? God damn it. They go back here. The line has moved, and the enemy team has taken this space. And your tanks are forced backward. Your tanks are forced backward. Even if they live. That's best case scenario. If they lose and they die, then everyone is dead and they take all of this space. Probably the next corner. This is the problem. Alright, listen. So, there is no one answer here. It is very judgment based on when you should peel or not. The bottom line is, peeling is a part of the game. We have to remember that when you play this game, you are a team. And regardless of personal feelings, you will have the best chance at winning if you play like a team. Maybe your strategist can handle the diver in a 1v1, but wouldn't it be more beneficial to just peel, get the kill, save your teammate, and win the 5v6? Similarly, maybe your DPS should have peeled for you. Maybe they weren't there when you really needed them. But is it going to help you to whine about it in chat? Or if you can, is it better to try and fight back or counter swap to deal with your issue? Treat each other with respect. And remember, not everyone is an amazing player who devotes hours and hours into this game. Some people only play to relax for a bit after work or school and may need a little extra help in some instances. Giving them that accommodation will not only help you win the game, but it'll make you feel better about it as a person. And that really is the reason why we play games, is to feel good about ourselves and to have fun. So let's just do that, right? If you stayed this long, thank you for doing so. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Remember, this is just my opinion, so feel free to disagree with me if you want. Started a new school program this January, so I've been off the videos and the content for a while while getting through my first semester, but I will do my best to be more consistent moving forward now that I'm in it and I'm a little bit more adjusted. We're getting great content lately, and it would be a shame to not talk about it and not make some content. So have a good one, guys. Catch you on the next one. See ya.